Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and I'm going to talk about Anthony Joshua, Wladimir Klitschko. I saw an interview this morning with Eddie Hearn, and he was talking about the negotiations with Wladimir Klitschko are stalling because Wladimir Klitschko and his team apparently want the WBA titles on the line for that fight. According to Eddie Hearn, they're not sure if this is going to be possible. He says that him and Joshua are willing to make the fight just for the IBF, with Wladimir Klitschko being just a voluntary challenger. I saw before he was talking about wanting the WBO title on the line, the WBA as well. This is Eddie Hearn, so I'm not quite sure what's changed. We do know that the Klitschkos are notoriously difficult to deal with, so it is possible that he's just kind of prepared to make some concessions. But at the same time, there are also quite a few accusations that Eddie Hearn does like to kind of name drop people and talk about things like negotiations that are really not as, moving along as quickly as he would have us believe, and are not as serious as perhaps he makes out. So I don't really know what to believe. When the fight got made itself, when it got announced, so to speak, when it got mentioned, my first impression was that it was quite unlikely to happen. I couldn't see it really. I thought that Wladimir Klitschko would be far too risky for them to fight as a voluntary challenger, and I didn't really see what they had to gain in it. Well, I see what they had to gain it from a kind of he who dares wins, fortune favours the brave kind of style, but just a very, very big gamble and quite an unnecessary one. But as it kind of went along and we kept hearing from Eddie Hearn that it's getting closer and closer, it's nearly done now, reporting it in the UK newspapers, it's more or less a done deal, etc., etc. I started to believe that, maybe this is true. This has now come out now, and I'm starting to kind of, get skeptical again. When I did first hear it, I thought, well, massive credit to both of them, especially Anthony Joshua, but also to Wladimir Klitschko as well. But huge credit to Joshua if he was prepared to take on this challenge this early in his career. I know people say he's a champion and he should take on all challenges. Yeah, that's fair enough, but really, he's not a champion, is he? He beat Charles Martin, who fought for a vacant title against Glazkov. He's not a champion. He hasn't beaten Wladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, these kind of characters. So, yeah, technically speaking, he should be able to, but he's had around 15 fights. I'm not sure the exact number, but very, very few. And he's never fought anyone remotely close to the level of Klitschko. He's fought his last few fights. Dominic Brazil. He was tough, came to fight, but really, he's basically like a punch bag, wasn't he? He didn't, he had no movement, no real attempt to even bother blocking punches, or at least no idea of how to do it properly. He wasn't trying to avoid anything. He was just literally just trying to take as much punishment as he could and dish a bit out as well. Obviously a very bad strategy against someone like Anthony Joshua. Charles Martin, very untested, came over. I think he got a bit kind of overawed, intimidated by the atmosphere, the crowd, the occasion, fighting outside of America. And it was just, he got great performance by Anthony Joshua, but still, it's not preparing you to fight someone like Wladimir Klitschko. Dylan White, good fighter, gave a good account of himself, gave it a good go, but he was very inexperienced himself, possibly injured as well. So, this would have been a huge leap for him. And if he was prepared to take that, then hats off to him. Would have been a very, very brave, audacious move. Wladimir Klitschko, he again would have deserved credit for this. He's been out the ring for a year. He's 40 years old. That sort of inactivity at that age is obviously going to affect you more than if you're 25, 26. So to go up against someone like Anthony Joshua, who's young, big, strong, powerful, fast hands, 100% knockout record, hungry, game, probably in England, in front of a very hostile crowd. At his age, to take on that, I would have given him massive credit too. If they do make the fight, because they still might do, then obviously you'll make a prediction, break that down properly. But for now, there's no point really. I don't think that Wladimir Klitschko really fancies the possible route that he would need to take now to get back, what he once had. I think he had an opportunity to fight Tyson Fury, and he would have just had to fight one person, and he would have got all his titles back. I think he would have been up for that. But this way, now Tyson Fury's vacated the belts, he would have to fight, let's say, Anthony Joshua, then the winner of Joseph Parker and Andy Ruiz, and then the WBA, like who knows, maybe Luis Ortiz, maybe David Haye, maybe Lucas Brown, I don't know, but like that, he would have had to fight those 3 fights to get his title back, and then maybe like Deontay Wilder as well in the mix. You're talking about a serious challenge, you're talking about long term as well. This is going to be what, like 18 months to do all of that? Does he really want to do all that? I don't think so, and to be honest with you, I hope not. Massive respect for Klitschko. I've sort of criticised him before when his kind of antics outside of the ring and all his kind of shenanigans, trying to get advantages, all this, that and the other. But, you've got to respect what he's done in the ring. He's been the man for years. I mean, pretty much the only that I can think of, like, dominant champion in boxing for a long, long time. Fought everyone, been at the top, stayed at the top. So yeah, definitely like an all-time, like a Hall of Famer, possibly there, an all-time great, why not? But yeah, you can't knock what he's done. But at the same time, now at his age, I'd rather just see him kind of step aside and let the young guns fight it out. I'd much rather see more from people like Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. He's not particularly young, but you know what I mean, he's kind of young in the sense that he hasn't been on the scene that long. Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, hopefully Tyson Fury can come back. And there's a few other people like kind of making their name, like climbing the ranks as well. I'd like to see these people fight it out. So really, I mean, if this fight gets made, Anthony Joshua against Wladimir Klitschko, great, love to see it. And yeah, I mean, it will be a very, I swear, like a sort of really high-level crossroads fight, because you've got Wladimir Klitschko, who's not as good as he was physically anyway, like a year ago, definitely not as good as he was 2 years ago. But then on the flip side of that, you've got Anthony Joshua, who's not as good as he will be a year from now or 2 years from now. So both of them would deserve huge credit if they won. So I don't want to hear people like trying to downplay any victory if they do win. I saw David Haye talking about it. Maybe I'm being a bit unfair, but to me it seemed like he was trying to detract credit from Fury's win and from a possible Anthony Joshua win, just out of, because he obviously didn't beat Klitschko himself. He was saying that, oh yeah, Anthony Joshua beat him easily. He's past it. He's like nowhere near like what he used to be, and this, that, and the other. Like, to me, I think that's just kind of the subtext of that is that, he's not going to be as impressive a victory as mine would have been if I'd have beaten him. Do you know what I mean? Or Fury's wasn't. So if Anthony Joshua does win, he's kind of expected to. I'm not gonna. I don't want to hear like if he does win, people are like, oh, Klitschko was kind of old. He was past it, and this, that, and the other. He's not old. Well, he's old technically, but he's not old. He's not past it. It's still a very, very dangerous fight, and he'd still be the favourite going into that. Really, he should be anyway. So if Anthony Joshua beats Wladimir Klitschko, he deserves massive respect. It's a huge win and total credit. So no trying to downplay it, no trying to, as I say, oh, he's too old. He was no, he wasn't. And the same way, if Wladimir Klitschko beats Anthony Joshua, I don't want to hear like, oh well, Joshua was like too green. He wasn't really experienced enough. Listen, he's 100% knockout record, Olympic gold medalist. He's definitely one of the best in the world. He's just you can just tell by looking at him, he's a serious, serious threat. So if Klitschko beats him at his age, after having a year out of the ring, you've got to take your hat off to him. Total respect. So if it does happen, then we'll see. But for now, I'm not that convinced that it will. In terms of where they go from here, I don't know. Like Wladimir Klitschko, I've already said, I don't think he's going to do all of that, like take on all of those challenges. So what really is there for him to do if he doesn't beat? He can take on. What's the point of him just fighting like for the WBA, like a mandatory? Let's say he fights. If he fights Luis Ortiz for it, that's worth doing. If he fights like Luis Ortiz, Deontay Wilder, or Anthony Joshua, because for me those are the three best outside of Tyson Fury. So if he beats one of them and then just retires, then brilliant. That's what. But he's not going to stay and beat all of them, I don't think. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Wladimir Klitschko. But I don't know. I suppose well, I don't know. We don't know how long Tyson Fury is going to come back. It's going to be before he comes back. But in terms of Anthony Joshua, I don't know. I mean, who would it like? Pulev possibly. I know Eddie Hearn's mentioned him. Apparently, according to him, he doesn't want to fight. All these people, Eddie Hearn says they don't want to fight, but a lot of them say something different. David Haye, possibly. Would that be too dangerous? I mean, it'd be a massive. If you're going to put him in with Klitschko, you're doing that, I suppose, for the legacy, the name, as well as the money. David Haye he wouldn't carry the same respect as beating Wladimir Klitschko would, but it would still be a very big name, and it would make a lot of money. But it's potentially a very dangerous fight. I don't know. I mean, David Haye is kind of a bit sheepish as well at who he's going to fight. I don't know like what's going on there, but yeah, if this doesn't happen, because they got the arena booked, the Manchester MEN arena, I think, for the 10th of December, is it, or in December? So whoever it is, they need to hurry up and get something sorted out, because the bigger fight it is, then really the more time they need to promote it. So I don't know. I mean, that's basically what I think about it. Let me know if anyone has any ideas who you think that Anthony Joshua or Wladimir Klitschko would fight realistically if this doesn't get made, because it's looking like, to me at least, it won't. So yeah, thank you very much for watching.